morning, everyone. I thought I'd like to make this video this morning about breathing and explaining the process of breathing to kind of like, I guess, give you more of an insight on what's actually happening in the body and what you should be feeling in the body when breathing. I feel like it's a topic that not many singers are educated enough on. Like, there's a lot of myths out there, like, oh, sing from your diaphragm, and, you know, saying things like that are actually kind of false and misleading because you can't actually sing from your diaphragm. So what I want to do is I want to explain parts of the body that are vital to breathing and go more in depth about what we should be feeling during our singing or screaming. The first part of the body is the rib cage. Alright, I want you to feel around your rib cage and see where, you know, mine up at the sternum, mine starts right here and goes all the way down. This is about the bottom of my rib cage. It's actually sitting way up higher in your body than what I want to explain is that the diaphragm sits inside that section of the rib cage all through here. At least in my body it is. And it's about that wide. It's almost a little bit as thick as maybe a motorcycle tire. And what it does is it is the muscle that's responsible for, you know, inhalation and exhalation. You don't actually really control it directly. It's more of an indirect muscle movement. It's what they call involuntary muscle movement. And what it does is during your inhalation, you'll notice that when you inhale, you'll see your stomach pushes out. So watch, when I do this, you'll see my stomach come out. Well, what that does is that when you inhale, the diaphragm, which was sitting right up here, pushes down, and it's now right here. And what it does is it pushes all the organs down below it to make room for the lungs to then expand. And at the same time, if you feel in right here, put your hands right here on the side of your rib cage, you'll feel that your rib cage expands too. And what that's causing is actual breathing. When we breathe, our lungs don't fill up with air and push everything else out of the way. Everything else moves out of the way so that our lungs can fill up with air. So I like to think of it as like, this isn't a stress ball, it's a head to a microphone. But what I like to think of it as is as if my fingers right here in my rib cage, my lungs are the black microphone head. And what happens in breathing is the rib cage expands, and so does the microphone expand to the rib cage. I'll try to make that more clear. Here are the ribs, and so when you inhale, this happens. These move first, allowing this to get bigger. Likewise, this will be, your ribs will be the horizontal plane, and the diaphragm will be the vertical plane. So what happens is, when you exhale, I'll exhale, and then when you inhale, it causes the diaphragm to push down, which allows the lungs to open up. It's kind of like if you take a stress ball and you compress it, and then you let it go and you watch it just inflate itself on a table. That's exactly the same process that's happening during inhalation. And during exhalation, what's happening is that diaphragm is returning upwards, pushing the air out of the lungs, which will then cause the air to travel through the vocal folds, which produce your sound. So when people say sing from the diaphragm, you can't really sing from it. It's the diaphragm is just working as a catalyst to move the air through the vocal folds. So I've noticed a lot of people saying, like, you know, they tense up in their abdomen, you know, because that's how they get a longer breathing. Well, actually, that'll constrict your breathing because you're not allowing for a proper airflow. And what you can do is an exercise that I was taught. You stick your thumb where your belly button is, if you can see on the camera, and then you place your hand, keep your thumb right there where your belly button is, and you place your hand on the lower part of your abdomen in the pelvic area. And then I want you to take one hand, feel where the bottom of your rib cage is on the side, and put it right there, like this. and focus on a deep, low breath where you'll feel the side expand and you'll feel the bottom, your pelvic area expand. So we'll do that right here. I'll try to turn so you can see. So my hand moved out a little bit, and this moved out a little bit. You won't feel a lot here because it's a small expansion, but it's enough to make a difference. And it might hurt the first couple times you do this, because if you've never really focused on breathing from the sides or from the bottom, you know, it's like engaging muscles that have never had to work before. They get tired very quickly. That's where you feel a little bit of pain. But over time, you won't feel that anymore. And so what I want you to focus on is then I want you to exhale. So just breathe out slowly like this. And I want you to monitor where on your stomach or on the sides are you deflating. And the key thing is you do not want to deflate from the side expansion. And it's kind of a hard concept to grasp. You're like, oh, well, when I breathe in, it expands. When I breathe out, shouldn't it go back? Well, no. What you want to do is you want to maintain this side expansive structure while letting this part deflate. But you want to keep this open. But don't be tense about it. Don't force it open. It's something that you want to occur naturally. So again, breathe in, and then as you breathe out, you can also help support by maybe pushing in, putting a little pressure, but not a lot. Don't like push your stomach in, but you want to start feeling the deflation come from down here, so that you can keep this open structure for your diaphragm to move freely in and out, which will help a lot during singing, and especially when you want to sustain notes. Sustaining notes doesn't mean freezing your body where it's at and keep screaming. You'll notice that works for the first 4 seconds of your scream, but for the last 4 seconds it sounds horrible because you don't have any airflow coming through the vocal cords. So you want to focus on that steady rhythm of that deflation in this lower abdomen area. And another topic I want to discuss is clavicular breathing. It means clavicular comes from clavicle, which means the clavicle bone up here. It's a common breathing style that people do. They don't know that they're doing it, but they do it, and it's when you breathe, and you'll see this happen. And what happens is, I raised my upper chest and I raised my shoulders, but what happens immediately after that is you do this, and you collapse. This creates a very short breath. You can't sustain notes on this breath. You can't get good tone on this type of breath. So what I want you to do is monitor during your own practicing of breathing. You know, just practice breathing, and during your singing or screaming, is to make sure that you're not going and then singing. You want to keep this all relaxed and equal. You want to do this and sing. And then that's just the end of the video. I hope you learned a lot. I might have not covered on a bunch of some more specific topics, but that's a general overview into breathing and where to feel it in the right places and whatnot. And if you have any more questions, just hit me up on the forum, and I'll start working on making other videos to help make more sense. But I hope you all enjoyed this as much as I did, and I will catch you online.